Greg, we're
leave these up here?
Yeah,
Is that okay
absolutely.
with you? I mean, I can tell you that you're in a firehouse. You know that people like have taken speeches from me before, you know, to try and panic me out. That's why I always make 2 copies.
They might blow away.
All I know is there's a lot of white shirts in front of you. I want to be right out there, Terry. Good luck. That's fine. We'll do it again.
Somebody's here.
Can everybody see the things that they need to see? We're all facing this direction. All right. Well, good afternoon to our media and guests. There are certainly a lot of guests behind me, so I won't name them individually at the risk of missing somebody. It's certainly a very special mention today to Senator Richard Blumenthal, who is with us and called for today's event. My name is Greg Priest. I'm the fire chief here in West Hartford. I'm honored to serve with the men and women, many of whom you see behind me here in the station number 4. I'm humbled also to be your MC, which is going to help Senator Blumenthal and others present some exciting new developments in federal funding for firefighters, communicate some important safety topics today before our Independence Day holiday, and to touch briefly on fire service recruitment. On behalf of Mayor Cantor, our town council, and town manager Rick Ledwith, we could not be more pleased that Senator and others have seen fit to use West Hartford as the backdrop for today's announcements. We're a vibrant and growing community here. We're attracting people from all walks of life to live, learn, eat, and conduct business or enjoy our recreational options, among many other things. Like communities across the state and nation, to support these activities and growth, there must be an effective safety net of emergency managers and emergency responders prepared and ready for any emergency. Consistent with most towns and cities, West Hartford firefighters and first responders are here 24/7 to address any situation that we're called to respond to. We embrace our inclusive community's vibrancy, vitality, and growth while standing ready to plan and answer any call. I could not be more pleased to serve leadership in a community that treasures its public safety the way West Hartford does. They always seek to understand and support our needs. So when considering the public safety needs of municipalities, this fire station was chosen today for a reason. As you drove in here, you likely passed a site of a new pending development, which will significantly increase housing units. Behind you, you will also see a new large addition to a senior housing complex. And in the last fiscal year in this station alone, the units responded to over 2,700 calls, about 63% of which were medical. And this volume is expected to rise with the potential for increased response times as we get busier. So especially when communities across the nation are appropriately seeking to grow and provide affordable housing options, we must consider the impact on first responders, especially through the lens of staffing and facilities. In light of these fact patterns and predictions facing West Hartford and other communities, leaders generally will look first to our federal funding, such as AFG and SAFER grants, which could cover more staff, better facilities, updated equipment, and improved training. I appreciate Senator Blumenthal's past, present, and future efforts to champion funding that would support all these areas of the fire service. As we watch these challenges and opportunities unfold, we need the public's assistance to learn how to avoid emergencies, but also to inspire interest in joining the fire service. Our outreach efforts through vehicles like public service announcements or PSAs cover both. They cover how to increase safety, thereby reducing emergencies, and they provide information to inspire people to join the fire service, and possibly to even those who may never thought it was a possibility to be a firefighter. In a few moments, the Senator and others will discuss funding and fireworks, as well as the PSA video series done in collaboration with the Connecticut Career Fire Chiefs Association and A2V Media. I look forward to hearing more details and remarks from our honored guests, starting with Senator Richard Blumenthal. And sir, as I hand you the podium, please accept my personal and professional thanks for all of your support of the fire service here and in the nation.
Thank you, Chief.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Chief. I'm really honored to be here in West Hartford. A great fire service, like many in the state. They are local, composed of volunteers, as well as paid professionals. Over this coming July 4th weekend, they will be out helping and saving people, literally disrupting their own holiday, sacrificing time with family to help and save others. And alongside them will be our state police, our local police, emergency responders, all of the professionals who keep us safe and make Connecticut the great state that it is. And that's one of the reasons why I'm proud to fight for more of the kind of resources that our fire service needs to be among the best in the whole country. We have professionals who are incomparable in their skill and dedication because they get the training and the equipment, because we recruit and retain among the best of our young people. And the federal resources that enable them to do it are SAFER grants and AFG grants. I'm proud and joyful that we can announce on this July 4th weekend that the Fire Grants and Safety Act, Fire Grants and Safety Act, has passed the United States Congress, signed by the President. It will provide $1.6 billion this coming year. $1.6 billion nationwide. Here in Hartford last year, there was a $400,000 grant. We're talking about real money. $1.6 billion every year for coming years. It's authorized for more than just 1 year, because our fire departments and service need the continuity and the constancy. They need to have a reliable source of funding for the equipment that must be modernized, for the training to use that equipment, for better kinds of environmentally safe protective gear, and for the kinds of gear that enables them to breathe, literally breathe, when they go into a building on fire. most deaths, as we know, of people in burning buildings are due to asphyxiation. And so the fumes, the toxic chemicals are a real hazard to our fire service, as are PFAS and other chemicals that may cause cancer and diabetes. Cancer is the biggest killer of our fire service, and some of these resources will go to provide protective gear that doesn't have these kinds of toxic chemicals. So this measure will provide support. The Fire Grants and Safety Act is a beginning of what we owe to our fire service to enable them to be effective and safe in what they do, and the United States Congress recognizes it. And I will continue to go all over Connecticut, as I do, to announce grants. We hope to get grants. We work together as a delegation, Senator Murphy and myself and Congressman Larson and the rest of the delegation. Now I want to say a word about the challenges that our fire service and police will confront this weekend with fireworks. There will be needless tragedies this weekend. There were 9,700 injuries last year. The rate is rising of injuries and even some deaths. But the injuries can be life-changing. In Connecticut last year, a 16-year-old young woman was hit in the chest with a mortar-type fireworks that caused her to be taken to one of the chief intensive care units up in Boston. That's just one example from Summers. These explosives are dangerous. Some are legal, the sparklers and the fountain fireworks. You can purchase the legal ones. They tell you they are safe and sane, but at the same time that they emit a frenzy of sparks and multicolor effects that snap and crackle. So safe and sane, well, maybe if you use them with the right precautions and care. A lot of people won't, and people will be injured because they are reckless or careless. Don't be among them, especially if a child is nearby. They should be nowhere near sparklers or fountain fireworks, not to mention some of the others that may be used. These kinds of fireworks, even if they are legal, may be a tragedy waiting to happen. Don't use them if you've been drinking. Don't use them if you can't supervise properly. Don't use them if there isn't a source of water to put them out. Don't use them if there's something flammable nearby. Use common sense. And then I want to say a word also about some of the do-it-yourself kinds of fireworks that are out there on social media. I've come across TikTok posts where these sparklers are tied together to make them bigger and better. They're not bigger and better, they're more explosive and more dangerous. Beware of homemade fireworks. They can be like bombs, blowing off limbs, causing severe burns. I call on TikTok and other social media to take down those do-it-yourself kinds of posts where people are instructed, supposedly, how to make super sparklers or bombs or other kinds of homemade fireworks. They are literally dangerous beyond words. And they can start fires in homes that then our fire service has to address. None of this is rocket science, but we're talking about substances of exactly the same kind of explosive power in smaller quantities that power rockets and military devices, mortars and others. And these kinds of fireworks on the 4th of July seem as American as apple pie, but we need to make sure that the injuries are prevented so Americans are safe, as they deserve to be, on this most American of holidays. I want to thank again the West Howard Fire Department and particularly Chief Greg Priest, and again, all of the fire service from Connecticut who are going to be out there over this weekend and every day. They're out there every day helping to save lives. You know, I've often said as a citizen who is visited sometimes by the fire service, rarely, fortunately, but you know, we often take for granted the services we know most until we really need them. And then it's like a doctor or police. When you need the fire service, they're there, and you appreciate them. So we appreciate you. Thank you all for the great work that you do day in and day out. Thank you, Chief.
Senator, thank you so much for those sage remarks. I now have the pleasure of introducing Westport Fire Marshal and the President of the Connecticut Fire Marshals Association, Terry Dunn, who will be joined also by State Trooper Kyle Foucher from the Connecticut State Police Fire Explosion Investigation Unit for some additional remarks regarding fireworks. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Chief Priest. Morning, all. Just to reiterate the Senator's comments, all fireworks and novelty items are illegal, including party poppers, snappers, and snakes in the state of Connecticut. This also includes the use of sky lanterns. On behalf of the Connecticut Fire Marshals Association, we want to wish everybody a safe and happy 4th of July. And please remember to leave the fireworks to the professionals. The use of illegal fireworks could lead to a life-altering and devastating injury. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here today. Again, my name is Trooper Kyle Foucher. I'm with the Connecticut State Police Fire and Explosion Investigation Unit. As Fire Marshal Dunn stated, the Connecticut state law prohibits the use of fireworks with the exception of sparklers and fountains. Persons must be 16 years of age or older to use these items. Although legal, be aware that injury can result when using these items, as sparklers can reach up to 2,000 degrees and result in third-degree burns. Possession or use of these fireworks, aside from the sparklers or fountains, can result in a misdemeanor or felony charge, depending on the type. 3/4 of all fireworks injuries nationwide occur in the 2 weeks surrounding the 4th of July holiday. Injuries can include loss of digits, serious extremity injuries, and in some cases can even be fatal. In recent years, over 100 fires in Connecticut have been attributed to the use or improper disposal of fireworks. There have been also dozens of injuries. Please keep safety in mind when using sparklers and fountains and dispose of these items properly. Be sure to soak them in water and do not put them near any combustible or flammable items. Remember this holiday to keep it safe, keep it legal, and leave the fireworks to the professionals. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that. So next, I will have Chief Paul Januszewski from the North Haven Fire Department representing the Connecticut Career Fire Chiefs Association to discuss some of our PSA videos.
Thanks, Chief. Good afternoon, all. My name is Paul Januszewski. I'm the Fire Chief for North Haven Fire Department, and I'm also the President of the Connecticut Career Fire Chiefs Association. We're pivoting to a lot of topics today. I want to start with thanking Senator Blumenthal for pushing so hard, along with our federal legislators, to get the funding in place for the Fire Grants and Safety Act, for the SAFER grants, and for the AFG grants. Let this not go without being said, how much the fire service relies on these grants every day, especially those in Connecticut. As we see our calls for service continue to grow in the state of Connecticut throughout all municipalities, what we're also seeing is that the municipal demand for funding and for budgetary reasons is not necessarily meeting the demands of the fire service. And so these federal grants are what allows a lot of fire departments throughout the state to purchase things like SCBAs and air compressors, purchase things like equipment for going into fires, apparatus, you name it, and it's actually available through a federal grant that allows us to put in for it. It's a competitive bid process, but dozens of departments in the state every year take advantage of it, along with a SAFER grant, which allows for an increase in staffing. Senator Blumenthal, thank you on behalf of the Connecticut Career Fire Chiefs for putting that together and pushing so hard for it. Pivoting now to the topic of cooking safety. And so how timely that this announcement from Senator Blumenthal coincides with the 4th of July weekend, and that what we know people are going to be doing is using, hopefully safely, fireworks, and we know they're going to be cooking outside and cooking in their kitchens, entertaining. Most recently, the West Hartford Fire Department and the Connecticut Career Fire Chiefs Association have teamed up to put together a PSA, which I think we're going to show you shortly, and it's on cooking safety. More than half of all residential fires are the result of cooking fires. Between 2017 and 2019, 165 deaths were attributed to cooking fires, and in that same period of time, over 3,300 injuries. So teaming up with the West Hartford Fire Department, we're beginning to push out this PSA to hopefully inform others of how to cook safely and what steps should be taken to make sure that as we're enjoying the holiday, we're doing so safely. Thank you all for your time, and I'll be available for questions afterwards.
All right, well, that's concluded our formal speakers, unless there's anybody else who'd like the opportunity for an open mic. That doesn't usually result in a lot of people stepping forward, but so I would be glad to field any questions and appropriately direct them to anybody here. We can show the video after the cameras are off, but we have the links up on our website, which is available. So we'll take questions, and then we will actually, at the request of Senator Blumenthal, we are glad to show the appropriate and safe use of some of the legal fireworks in Connecticut. We'll hold that out on the back ramp. So if there's any questions, I'll field them and hand them to the appropriate person.
Chief, how important is it to upgrade the equipment that you guys use on a daily basis?
It's critical. It's part of our job, right? Every time we come into a fire station, we need our equipment to be able to effectively respond to calls. We're blessed to work in a municipality here in West Hartford where we're well-resourced. We're constantly looking at the services that our community fire department offers to the residents and making sure that the equipment is best positioned so that they can deploy it out into the field.
And being able to hire more service members, are you down any? Are you looking to hire? Talk about recruitment.
Sure, absolutely. I'm very blessed, as I spoke before, right? So our community has listened to us currently right now. We're fully staffed in this particular organization. We're very mindful and respectful and watching how our community is growing, and we're advocating for the needs of our firefighters to make sure that they are appropriately staffed. And I know that as this growth continues in the community, those are discussions that we'll bring forward to our town leadership, who I know is listening. But we'll also be working with people like Senator Blumenthal and other federal agencies to ensure that we fully sought any federal grants that might be able to offset any of our needs against the taxpayers' needs here in the town of West Hartford.
Do you know how much approximately comes in a grant from this new funding?
So I would certainly defer to Senator Blumenthal if you wanted to add on, but from my experience in our community, we've been honored and blessed with the senator's support to have received several training grants. And the way that communities do that is they articulate what their need is, they articulate what funding or what resources, and then it is evaluated by grant reviewers who then decide whether or not that's an appropriate use of the federal funding. Senator, do you have any additional thoughts on that?
Yeah. First of all, let me just say on the issue of recruiting, these grants are really important to many of the smaller towns and cities because a lot of them rely on volunteers, and they're short on volunteers. This problem has been a chronic one for many of them, as you probably know. So training and equipment, apparatus, is really important to recruit and retain volunteers because they know they're using the best that we can provide them to stay safe themselves and also to do their job. On the issue of who is receiving it, I can tell you, I personally visited Waterbury, Columbia, Colchester, East Granby, West Haven, Middlefield, Torrington, Weathersfield, West Hartford, New Britain, just as a few examples, last year. So these grants go to all of the Connecticut towns and cities. Now, we've just finished the first phase of this fight, which is the Fire Grants and Safety Act. It is the global authorization for the money. Now we begin the second phase, which is the applications that will be submitted by West Hartford, by Westport, by all of the towns across Connecticut. They'll be applying for new kinds of breathing apparatus. They'll be applying for new fire trucks, as they're known colloquially. They'll be applying for all kinds of SAFER and AFG grants to do training and recruiting and also the apparatus that they need. And it will be life-saving, literally. And then we go to bat for them. We go to the Department of Homeland Security, we go to FEMA, we go to all of the federal agencies that have jurisdiction over these grants, and we say, here's the one you ought to fund. Because the competition is intense. You know, it's a real fight to get specific grants awarded for specific equipment. So we're in this fight literally day in and day out to get the grants funded. And when I say we, it really is we. It's our whole delegation. I'm here today. I have been involved in helping to lead this effort, but it's a delegation effort because we all know how important our fire service is and how important these grants are to our fire service.
You said that's $1.6 billion.
This year.
Is that each year over the next 3 years, that few years that it's authorized, or is that $1.6 billion spread out over those years?
It's this year,
Okay.
not over any number of years. The authorization is for at least 4 more years at a minimum of that rate, but it could well be more. In fact, it will probably be in the tens of billions of dollars. And the reason is quite simply that inflation is driving up the cost of a lot of this equipment. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Senator, what we'll do is have a couple members of our staff get these prepared outside, and then the cameras, if you want to go out and watch the fireworks, we will.
Jason, spelling for the name. How you doing, all right? Good to see you. Same thing to you, spelling for the name, okay? I know it's an easy name for all of you. Thank you, guys.
Perfect.
Here, all right?
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much. Thanks for having us.
Okay, Steve, spelling for the name, man, all right? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, no.
I thought you were going to ask a tough question about what am I going to use fireworks?
No. My question was going to be, and why did you talk about it?
Doing it? Actually, I would have to put the blame on my wife. She doesn't allow me anywhere near the stove.
And because she's not here, so she can't argue
True
it.
that.
Unlike, what's his name?
Wow, Alito. I'm saying to myself, blame the wife. Great way to go.
Yeah.
No, see, no, it's funny.
My middle name is Elisa.
But you know, see, bringing it for a couple of stuff. These guys are getting in.
Senator, are you all set, sir? You want us to light that, or would you like to do it?
Want me to light it?
Ooh,
There you
yeah.
go. We're gonna get you the lighter.
Woohoo!
However you feel best supported. Wow.
I don't mind telling you that I had to be told to back away, which is a lesson. It starts slow, but you've seen how many sparks and other flammable stuff there is in here. So if you're going to use one of these, back away, keep children away, have a hose nearby if the guys are scared, and have some responsible adults around if it's a younger person. Thank you.
Do you guys want any more B-roll footage of other ones? Or?
Yeah, can we do another one?
Yeah. Do as many as you want.
B-roll as I can get.
And then here's something important
Yep.
too. When you dispose of it, it's a bucket of water. And it's important to have a hose and a bucket of water.
Like we all have the tripod and then everybody gets on the ground. Exactly.
I don't blame you, but really, putting that stuff out of the way.
I don't want to be an example.
Fine. There's an orange cone. I'm safe.
I don't know.
Okay. You're not going to press our luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
members of the media want to pick something, we will be glad to imbibe upon any of your desires, if you want.
Yeah, what do you have?
One that you would like to see go, we will be glad to let you. Globe.
Yeah.
Globe, I think. Globe. All right.
Green globe. Green globe. Green globe.
I did like green
globe.
I believe it's a globe.
So what is that green globe?
Sure is.
Cool.
Do we know what it's going to do? Should we get into the safety area?
Yeah, I feel like we should be behind the cones. Can I?
All right. Do you want to rip at that one? Or? Safe area there.
Like me. Maybe we'll take a couple steps back out of the safety area.
Part of the news story. Start on the thing.
Put out these nice cones for us, telling us to keep it safe and keep away from fireworks because any closer there could be injuries.
Wow, that was exciting. All right,
Yeah.
there you go.
I spoiled you on the other one.
Senator, could you go ahead and put it in the water for me? Not that I need to. Excellent.
Cool.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Senator.
That does it for me for the 4th of July.
Got all the fireworks out of your system.